We are getting a new Spider-Man game this year. It still feels kind of surreal to say it, because I totally did not expect this to be a PlayStation 5 launch game, but here we are. Although we still have a lot of questions. How big is this game? Is it more an expansion or a standalone title? Is it coming to PS4? Let's take a good look in this video. And of course, also I want to talk about what we can expect from this game looking at the trailer. So a like on the video would be super appreciated, and let's go. If you want to win a 2020 game of your choice on your platform of choice, then totally enter my giveaway via the link in the pinned comment, and you have to be a subscriber of the channel as well before you enter. I will announce the winner in early July. Okay, spoilers for the end of Spider-Man PS4, but I'm sure that you've already finished that, right? Because then you know that at the end of the game we see that Miles has spider powers now, and this gets expanded upon in the DLC, with Miles already trying some stuff in the second expansion.
You're at the hospital? Why? What happened? Did someone come after you?
No, nothing like that. It's just, I kind of took off a bridge.
And Peter promises that he would learn Miles things after he dealt with Hammerhead, and well, at the end of the Silver Lining DLC that of course happened. We see a small tease of that, although that doesn't really go that well yet.
Get used to it. Just try to keep up.
So yes, this obviously takes place after those events, but it's still unclear how far ahead we are. Miles does look a little bit older compared to how he looked in the main game, and is of course a way more capable Spider-Man. We already got some hints on the PlayStation blog. Players will experience the rise of Miles Morales as he masters new powers to become his own Spider-Man. So this makes it sound like he doesn't have that much experience yet, something he will then likely gain over the course of the game to become in the end the Spider-Man he is meant to be. So it could be just half a year or a couple of months after the DLC. And I got some other theories regarding that I will touch on a little later in the video, because a question of course also is, where is Peter? But let's first look at the world, because it's winter now. But we are still in the same map. We have Tashanka is the best on Reddit, making a very good comparison between the dive in the trailer versus the one he did himself in Spider-Man PS4, showcasing the exact location. And this already shows the improvements we can expect on the PS5 a little bit, with some fog and just way more detail in the buildings all around. On Reset Era we got Tyaran, who also shared some comparisons with Miles swinging through the streets on PlayStation 5, and then the exact same scene on PS4. One thing I noticed is that there seem to be way more people on the street in this PS5 version. We see snow almost everywhere, on cars, stairs, some windows, and also of course on the roofs, as we see in the other screenshot. So some great improvements that should make the world feel way more alive. But there is more. With the PS5's ultra fast SSD, players can near instantaneously fast travel across Marvel's New York City, or feel the tension of each of Miles' web swings, punches, web shots, and Venom Blast with the DualSense wireless controller's haptic feedback. Highly detailed character models, we of course also saw that at the very beginning of the trailer. Enhanced visuals across the game intensify the story of Miles Morales as he faces great new challenges while learning to become his own Spider-Man. And actually the first ever PlayStation 5 SSD demonstration that was showcased to investors highlighted Marvel Spider-Man as well, where on PS4 Pro fast traveling would be 8 seconds, on PS5, then called Next Generation, it would be less than 1 second. There they also showcased that on PS4 Pro they had to slow Spider-Man down, otherwise he would be faster than the system could load the world, while on PS5 this is not necessary and we see him like go through the world insanely fast without any loading screens. In August last year we learned that Marvel Spider-Man sold 13 million units worldwide, so that was 1 year after launch. and I'm sure that they're well over the 15 million at this point. So yeah, Sony is leaving money on the table if they do not release this Miles Morales game on PS4, but on the other hand, like having this game as a PS5 exclusive will be enough for people to make the jump to the next gen console. And that's of course also something that Sony wants. And it would be weird if there were two versions of this game and in the PlayStation 5 version Miles would swing faster than on the PS4, right? And maybe the snow we see also impacts how we traverse or battle in this world. We already see more sporadic moves while swinging compared to Peter, and I overall would not be surprised if the moves we saw for Miles are more focused on real powers compared to the many gadgets that we saw Peter use. Although we of course do see Miles use the web shooters from Peter at the end of the DLC, so he's likely using them in this game too. On Instagram, Insomniac confirmed that we should expect all new takedowns and suit mods in the Miles Morales game. So seems like there will be a similar customization system compared to the PS4 title. And in the new trailer we see the camouflage and the Venom Blast already in action on a humanoid enemy with a robot hand. And this seems to be in Times Square, so that is another location that we already saw in Marvel Spider Man. So this seems like an Infamous First Light situation, and this was a standalone DLC for Infamous Second Son that took place in the same map of Seattle as we saw in the main game. It was a 4-hour story where we learned more about Fetch, who we already met during the campaign of Second Son, but I totally think that this Miles Morales game will be more than 4 hours, also because Insomniac spent almost 2 years working on it by the time it releases, while First Light released half a year after Second Son. It took them 4 years to make Marvel Spider Man, but remember that that game was really built from scratch. They did not have the world already, and the swinging that of course took them very long to nail. So they already had a huge head start going into this second game, something they could spend on extra story content and side missions. So it's likely more than First Light, although the communication about what this game is has been all over the place. First we had the Sony Interactive Entertainment head of European business say that I guess you could call it an expansion and enhancement to the previous game. He then continued, as noted by Video Game Chronicles, saying that there's a substantial Miles Morales component, which is the expansion element, but also within the game as well there's been major enhancements to the game and the game engine, obviously deploying some of the major PlayStation 5 technology and features. So he made it more sound like an add-on to the PlayStation 5 version of the main game that we got to play on the PS4. Just like this line from the PlayStation blog kind of indicates that the latest adventure in the Spider-Man universe will build on and expand Marvel Spider-Man through an all-new story. But Insomniac took it to Twitter to clarify that they will reveal more about this standalone game at a future date. And Jason Schreier on Bloomberg compared it more to Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. That was like a 7 to 8 hour standalone game, but that took place in a new area and just used many systems from Uncharted 4. So if it's more comparable to Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, then I really hope that we also get new areas in the Miles Morales game, like Brooklyn would be awesome. We of course did see the bridge to this location, and we got Wilkins Swan here in this footage try and get there, but yeah, you fell through the ground. It was just not developed at all. So let's hope that they add it in this standalone game. Although them not showing it in the trailer makes me think that it's not in the game, sadly, because even with upgraded graphics and snow, going through the same area that we had in the PS4 game would make this game feel way less new. Although the counterpoint is that we are of course playing a completely new character. We hear Peter at the start of the trailer, but I would not be surprised if he's not playable in this game at all, or just not in New York altogether. Like otherwise he would totally be helping Miles out, right? But that doesn't seem to be the case here, at least in the trailers. Maybe he and MJ finally took that much deserved vacation that we hear them talk about at the start of the Silver Lining DLC.
What do you think about taking a vacation when all this is over?
Vacation? I'm not sure I know what that word means.
Yeah, I'm with you. But seriously, we both need it. I'll start doing some planning.
And then later on in this DLC, we actually hear that MJ is heading to Symkaria for a rapid developing situation.
Listen, I've been digging into this Sicaria thing. It's a big story, something I feel like I need to be a part of. My boss agrees.
Wait, you're going to Sicaria? When?
Tonight. It's a rapidly developing situation.
But yeah, this was at the end of the City That Never Sleeps expansions. And again, Miles seems older now in this new PS5 game. So it should at least take place like a year after this, you would think, right? Or maybe it is the few months, because it is interesting that they're already teasing, of course, what MJ is doing, and maybe Peter as well, and that could lead into this new game. Your theories are more than welcome in the comments down below, or you can send them to my input@JorRaptor.com email address, and please use Spider-Man in the title. I'll be all over this game, of course, as you come to expect from me, so totally subscribe for way more on Spider-Man Miles Morales. A like on this video would be super appreciated, and totally check out my most recent in-depth video on the new Marvel's Avengers info that was recently revealed. For now though, I will speak to you next time, and goodbye.